All right, let's get talking. Too many Tikar. Why I elected not to take the African ancestry DNA test. Now, I did take Afro Roots, I took 23andMe, and I took Ancestry. Now, right here, and unfortunately, I can't show you this full book excerpt, wonky computer. Identity in the Shadow of Slavery, page 59 is where you will find it. It's a book from Paul E. Lovejoy, came out in 2000. And we'll just start reading from here. Um, Captain, well, from here, in the late 18th century, Captain Adams, that was a slave ship captain, explicitly stated that Ibibis, that's Ibibio, were the same as Quaws and were called Mocos in the West Indies. Okay, now here we see a Tikar person. Now, certainly some of us are descended from the Tikar, but I've noticed that I so far have not seen anyone get results from the Ibibio people or the Ifik people or the Anang people or a number of other people who it is said were taken into slavery. And one sign that the Ifik, Ibibio, Anang people were taken is the widespread usage of the word Bukra, or in their language, and I'm probably butchering it, Mbakara. Okay, so we see here if it opens. Quincy Jones, who took their matriclan test, and it says that it shows here that his haplogroup is L1C, and I'll try to explain what a haplogroup is. So basically, it's a genetic signature. Um, you have a primary haplogroup, macro haplogroup, which is shown by a capital letter, and then it breaks down further with subsequently numbers and lowercase letters. So he belongs to L1, but also to L1C, and I myself happen to belong to L1C. So now, when they say 99.77%, that means that he was 99.7% similar to a DNA sequence that they had in their database. And there are people who identify as Tikar who are L1C. There are also people who identify as Bamalike and Igbo who are L1C. Now, going over here, we see this is an article, Mitochondrial DNA Diversity in the African American Population. Derek C. Johnson, Sadeep Shrestha, and Brahim Isani. A polymorphism means more than one form of something. So, abstract genetic polymorphism along mitochondrial DNA defines population-specific signatures called mitochondrial DNA haplogroups. Estimation of mitochondrial DNA haplogroup distribution may be prone to errors, notably if the study sample is not drawn from a multi-center cohort. Here we repeat Here we report, on mitochondrial DNA diversity in a sample of African American individuals, N meaning number equals 343, enrolled in a multi-center cohort. Sequencing of the hypervariable regions, don't worry about some of this technical stuff, 1 and 2 of the D loop control region, unless you know what it means, show that the most common mitochondrial variants are 73G, 146C, 150T, and by the way, these are your nucleotide bases. 189G, 1,672, 1,620. No, I'm sorry. So bad at numbers. 16,278 T and 16,311 C. In agreement with the published data, we observed 17 common mitochondrial haplogroups L0, L1, so that means that includes L1B and L1C, L2, that includes L2A, and then L2B, L2C, L2E, L3, L3B, L3D, L3E, L3F, L3H, L3X, and L4. The most commonly observed haplogroup is L2A, that's 19.8% with that, followed by L1B, 10.2%. Overall, the observed mitochondrial haplogroup distribution in our study is similar to those published for African American and African populations. So, while the issue with African ancestry is not whether or not they can find that you match in their database, it's exactly that you can match with a number of groups in their database. It's just a matter of likelihood, but you can. Okay, so what is here? I don't know if this ever opened. It seemed like it did not want to. But this is just one example. Now, this individual here, Nigerian, takes the African let me see if this is let's see if I can. Let's see, Nigerian, the sheet. Ah, boy. Let's see. I'm trying to find what exactly. I don't really know how to find. But particular video because I'm not sure what text to put in. Here we go. Come on. Scooching. Okay, so this guy here took the African ancestry test and he came back as Tikar. However, um, Tikar uh, maternally. However, his mother does not identify as Tikar, and you have to understand how culture works. The Igbo happened to be for the most part, patrilineal group. So it really would not matter what his haplogroup was. But yeah, so the issue is, let's say it had been during uh, the slave trade, and his mother, who identifies as an Igbo woman, was captured and taken into slavery and had descendants. When they did the test, uh, they would likely end up being traced back to the Takar and would assume that their ancestors lived amongst the Tikar when in reality they lived amongst the Igbo. So then going back again to Quincy Jones, if it opens, again, it came back out, it came back as Tikar. And then you have this here article. A little genetic differentiation as assessed by uniparental markers in the presence of substantial language variation in peoples of the Cross River region of Nigeria. And as we click on that, and already read the title, let's see if it will show some of the mitochondrial DNA groups. But here we see Cameroon. Where are we? So this is the area, where you would find Tikar people. The Tikar are here. They fall under the Bantoid, northern Bantoid, have Tikar here. They are part of the Bantoid Cross group and the eastern Benue Congo. going back up to the Benue Congo, and we have Cross River here, Delta Cross, so on and so forth. Anang, Ibibio, Efik, Aron. Okay, so now going down here, the primary branching of Bantoid is of North and South Bantoids. North Bantoid is comprised of Mongoloid and more controversially Dacoid and Tikar. So again, it's not that no one has Tikar ancestry, or even that many do not have actual Tikar ancestry. It's just that it seems as though too many people are just being assigned to that group. And I'm thinking simply because when you have L1C, it seems as though they just tend to just tell you that that's what group that you belong to. Okay, so now going down, let's see if I can find what mitochondrial groups they show. Okay, so did it show? That's still kind of see it. So I was looking for a graph. Supposed to have a color graph somewhere around on here. Okay, so these are the various mitochondrial groups you will find. One of them they say unknown. Then they have L3F, L3E4, L3E3, L3E2B, L3E2, L3E1A, L3E1, L3D, L3B, L3M L2D, L2C, L2B, L2A, L1C3, L1C2, L1C1, L1C, L1B, L1, L0A2, L0A1, L0A. And these can be found different proportions in Nigeria, General, Igbo land, Cameroon, Ghana. You see by the colors. Sorry, resolution is not the best. But you can see that these are shared across these groups. We'll go here. Some of this stuff is not, well, I might make a video about it another time, but even to show let's see, L1C. Let's see. Let's just guess. We'll take a leap of faith here. Anyways, let me show you L1, other populations of which L1, excuse me, man, excuse me. Other populations of which L1C is particularly prevalent include the Bajan Tikar people, 100%, Baka people from Gabon, 97%, and Cameroon, 90%. The Bakoya, when they give these numbers, that has to do with out of the samples that they took. Okay, so haplogroup L1 is found most commonly in Central Africa and West Africa. It reaches its highest frequency among the Mbenga pygmies. It is likely that it was formerly more widespread and was constrained to its current area as a result of the Bantu migration, which is largely associated with haplogroup L2. Haplogroup L1 has been observed in specimens from the island cemetery in Kolabnati, Sudan, which date from the early Christian period, AD 550 to 800. An ancient beaker culture individual at the Camino de los Yaceros in Spain, San Fernando de Henares, Madrid. I won't go into all that, but has also been found to carry the L1B1A mitochondrial haplogroup. L1 has two branches, L3 and really messing up. L1 has two branches, L1C and L1B. The formerly named L1D, L1K, L1A, L3F have been, and then say a near year needed, reclassified into haplogroup L0 as L0D, L0K, L0A, L0F, L1E as L5. Now that will happen sometimes where they will refine it and change the some of the letters and numbers after the main haplogroup assignment. Haplogroup L1C emerged at about 85,000 years ago. It reaches its highest frequency in West and Central Africa, notably among the Mbenga pygmy people, see map. Among it is carried by 100% of Bacola, 97% of Ba Benzele, and 77% of Biaka. Other populations in which L1C is particularly prevalent include the Bajan Tikar people. So 100% of Tikar, by the way, are a composite people. So 100% of the Bajan, the Baka people from Gabon had 97% of those who were L1C were Baka, and Cameroon 90%, the Bakoya 97%, and the Babongo 82%. Common also in Sao Tome 20% and Angola 16 to 24%. Now, not to be narcissistic, making this about myself, although it is YouTube, I happen to belong to L1C1. Now, maybe it breaks down further, but when I took 23andMe, they simply gave me as being L1C1. Okay, so it goes on down, and L1, let's see, L1C. Nucleotide sequence determination. And again, this is why I did not take their test, because if you know where to look, once you know your haplogroup, you could easily just go and find groups that broadly belong to your haplogroup. So here we see this is dealing with Sierra Leone. And explaining some things. The technical stuff. The three major African haplogroups, L1, L2, and L3A, were present in all four Sierra Leone samples. When the major haplogroups were subdivided according to the scheme described by Salas et al., 2002, the combined L2A and L2A1 haplogroups were present at frequencies of 17%, 28% in all four ethnic groups. In contrast, the combined L1B and L1B1 haplogroups were only 4% of the Limba sample, but they were present at frequencies of 12% to 27% among the other samples. Similarly, the L3E4 haplogroup was present in the Limba sample at a frequency of 7%. It was absent from the other three samples. It says similar mitochondrial haplogroup data were available for a number of West African ethnic groups. Gravin et al. 1995, Watson et al. 1997. Rondo et al. Means in others, 1999. Sample sizes for three of these ethnic groups, the Mandinka, Fulbe, and Wolof, were larger than 40. Therefore, we compared these three to the three Sierra Leone samples that were also larger than 40, Table 5. To be consistent with our data, the haplogroup assignments for the published data were redefined based on the scheme of Salas et al. 2002. When an exact test of sample differentiation was performed, we found that the Mandingo sample had haplogroup frequencies that were significantly different from those of the other ethnic groups. Table 6. All the other pairwise comparisons were significantly different as well, except for comparisons between the Mende and the Timne, Fulbe, or Wolof samples. Haplotype, and the haplotype is a particular sequence, I guess, within a haplogroup. So haplotype sharing was common. So let me see, between the Mende and Timne, Fulbe or Wolof samples, haplotype sharing was common. Exceptions include 4 instances of an L3B1 haplotype, 93, 223, 278, 362 that was found uniquely in the full-base sample, and 6 examples of an L2A haplogroup 148, 150, 223, 278, 294, 355, 390 that was found uniquely in the Mandinka sample. Also, an L2C2 haplotype 93, 126, 223, 264, 274, 278, 311, 390, and 2 L2D2 haplotypes 111, 115, 184, 189, 223, 293, 278, 292, 311, 355, 360, 368, 390, 399, 400, and 11A 145, 184, 189, 223, 239, 278, 292, 355, 390, 399, 400 that were common among the Sierra Leone ethnic samples have not been observed previously. Thus, there are significant differences in mitochondrial DNA haplotype distribution among most populations. Okay, so anyways, so it says when the 4 ethnic groups sampled in Sierra Leone were analyzed, we found that the distribution of mitochondrial DNA haplogroups was similar to that observed in previous studies of West African ethnic groups. For instance, in all four ethnic groups, 30 to 46% of the individuals had haplogroup L2 mitochondrial DNA as observed previously for other West African ethnic groups, Watson et al. So, because so many West Africans fall under L2, you're not just going to find that in one particular country. Okay, so now, okay, going on down, we're going to skip some stuff. Okay, so this is to show you. So they have Mende, come on, key pad, where are we? So we have Mende, Loco, Limba, Timne, and I guess this is a number of individuals they found. It's interesting that they show A2. It's normally associated with Asian people. That's interesting. H is normally associated with Europeans. So that's interesting. But so we see that so far we see that L1 is not that common. But up here's an L1 C1 number that are L1 C1s. There are three that were L2A something, L2A1, and going on down, up 6 that were L2C, 6 that were L3B, 4 L2 L3D. Anyways, it's this. So there are 19 Mandinka who were L1B1. There are 30 that were L2C, 13 Timne who were L2C, 11 Timne who were L3B, guess that is showing you the most frequent. But, and then we have some other charts you can look at. If you can interpret this, feel free. But this is the location of these groups. And let's see, what else can I show? Oh, This did show how mitochondrial DNA is inherited. Let's see, that's what it looks like, but we're just going to see how it's passed down. Okay, so this is showing you how it is passed down to you. Mitochondrial DNA, the direct maternal line. Everyone inherits mitochondrial DNA from their mother through their mother, her mother, her mother, her mother, and so on, represented by the pink boxes on the pedigree chart below. So we see how they're going. So they start here, and it passes down to your great great grandmother, to your great grandmother, to your grandmother, to your mom. They say probably what, to your mom, and to your sister, and you, and it also would pass down to your. Well, anyways, yeah, to you. Well, uh, if a person has an exact match on their mitochondrial DNA with another person who was tested at the full, don't close out on me. Let's see. Come on. Come back. Go back to that page if I can. Jeez. I don't know where to find that particular page. That's the problem. Well, I hate to jump around, but a simpler chart, I guess. But it's still the same thing. So for males, that we're dealing with uh, mitochondria, it goes from uh, whatever paternal ancestor you want to start with, and it passes down to you if you are a male. Your mitochondria passes down from a given maternal ancestor and it goes on down until it reaches U. And just to show how they show that everyone is traces back to Africa, ultimately, I'm going to go to haplogroup L. Haplogroup L. Okay, macro haplogroup L, mitochondrial DNA. In human mitochondrial genetics, L is the mitochondrial DNA macrohaplogroup that is at the root of the anatomically modern human Homo sapiens mitochondrial DNA phylogenetic tree. As such, it represents the most ancestral mitochondrial lineage of all currently living modern humans, also dubbed mitochondrial Eve. Its two subclades are L1 6 and L0. The split occurred during the penultimate glacial period. L1 6 is estimated to have formed circa 170,000 years ago, and L0 circa 150,000 years ago. The formation of L0 is associated with the peopling of southern Africa by populations ancestral to the Khoisan, circa 140,000 years ago, at the onset of the Eemian interglacial. L is further subdivided into L1 6 or L1 6 and L1 dated circa 150,000 years ago and 130,000 years ago, respectively. Haplogroups L5, 120,000 years ago, L2 and L6, 90,000 years ago, L4, 80,000 years ago, and L3, 70,000 years ago. So this is showing you how L3, see some members of L3 migrate out and divide into N and M. Okay, and we go on down some less of this other stuff. 1 through 6. This is the tree breakdown. Undifferentiated L1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 has been found in Neanderthal fossils from the Caucasus, Myskea Cave, and the Altai Denisova Cave, dated to before 50,000 years ago. This suggests that an earlier wave of expansion of Homo sapiens left Africa between about 200 to 130,000 years ago during the penultimate glacial period. CF Skull and Kovsky hominins, and left genetic traces by interbreeding with Neanderthals before disappearing. Haplogroup L1 diverged from L about 140,000 years ago. Its emergence is associated with early peopling of Africa by anatomically modern humans during the Eemian, and it is now mostly found in Bantu and semi-Bantu speaking West African populations. And they tell you that L5, blah, 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 blah. It goes into Eastern Central Africa, found in the highest frequency in Mbuti pygmies from Eastern Central Africa at 15%. Haplogroup L2 diverged from L1 4262 at about 90,000 years ago, associated with the peopling of East-West Africa as a result of the Southeast Bantu migration. It is now spread throughout central sub-Saharan Africa at the expense of the previously more widespread L0, L1, and L5. Now, I'm not going to read all of these, but it's only what's going on in Africa. These are all the ones that you will find in Africa for the most part. So, going on. Maternal haplogroup L lineages are found in the Afro diaspora of the Americas, as well as indigenous Americans who are Afro maternal haplogroup, as well as indigenous Americans who are Afro. That's confusing. Anyways, you see, you have to. It is Wikipedia, so they can word things confusingly. Uh, Maternal haplogroup L lineages are predominant among Afro Americans. That's true. Afro Caribbeans and Afro Latin Americans. In Brazil, Pina et al. Reported that 85% of self-identified Afro-Brazilians have haplogroup L mitochondrial DNA sequences. Maternal haplogroup L lineages are also found at moderate frequencies in self-identified white Brazilians. Alves Silva reports that 28% of a sample of white Brazilians belong to haplogroup L. In Argentina, a minor contribution of Afro lineages was observed throughout the country. Maternal haplogroup L lineages were also reported at 8% in Colombia and at 50 and at 4.5% in north central Mexico. In North America, maternal haplogroup L lineages were reported at a frequency of 0.90% in white Americans of paternal European ancestry, such as those from the lineage of Creole people. One thing about uniparental markers, it only takes one ancestor for you to have that particular marker. Maternal haplogroup L are detected in various Amerindian groups in ranging frequencies. It was found at 8% in the Nahua Koyolilo and 7.1% in Chibcha speaking group Nasa ethnic group. What that actually means is that there were some Africans who were incorporated into those groups. Anyways, so this is the breakdown. So this L is still with L3 here. For descendants, we have M and N. Haplogroup L6 and L4 form sister clades of L3, which arose in East Africa at roughly the same time, but which did not participate in the out of Africa migration. So they have N in Eurasia, due to migration from Africa and North Africa, possibly due to back migration from Eurasia. M. Asia, the Mediterranean basin, and parts of Africa due to back migration. L3A, East Africa, moderate to high frequencies among the Sanye, Samburu, Araku, Yaku, El Molo, and other minor indigenous populations from the East African Rift Valley. It is infrequent to non-existent in Sudan and the Sahel zone. L3A found across East Africa, estimated age of 35.8 to 39.3 thousand years ago. There's different groups that have this. L3F1B4 carried from Central Africa into Southern and Eastern Africa with the Bantu migration. L3F2 primarily distributed in East Africa, also found in North Africa and Central Africa. L3D spread from East Africa in the Upper Paleolithic to Central Africa. Some subclades spread to East Africa with the Bantu migration found among the Fulani, Chadians, Ethiopians, Akan people, Mozambique, Yemenites, Egyptians, Berbers. So again, this is why I did not take the African ancestry test, because multiple groups fall under this. And how would I know which group was the right one? If they said Akan, then if if I did belong to L3D, if they said Akan, that would make sense. If they said Fulani or Chadians, that would make sense. Mozambique makes sense. Now, some things maybe will make less sense based upon where people were picked up in the slave trade. Fulani or Akan or Mozambique would make more sense than Egyptian or Berber or Yemenites. L3E1 spread from West Central Africa to Southwest Africa with the Bantu migration, found in Angola 6.8%, Mozambique, Sudanese, and Kikuyu of Kenya, as well as Yemen. Wait. They see here the Tikar of Cameroon before. Okay, so they have some who are L1C, we saw, and among the Akan people of Ghana. L3E5 originated in Chad Basin, found in Algeria, as well as Burkina Faso, Nigeria, South Tunisia, South Morocco, and Egypt. So it's just giving you that, the breakdown. That breaks down. You get all the way to go to L3s, and then it goes to M and N. Okay, so we will let this be all for now. Thank you.